welcome back to our shed build. This is going to be video number 2. In this video we're going to get the door designed and possibly even the windows. I noticed our last video went about 25 or so minutes, which is a bit long. Okay, so let's get right into this. First thing we're going to want to do is I want to turn all this roof off so we don't see it, so it's out of the way. So you just go up here and click this little eyeball icon, it turns it off. Go here, we're going to start on the front of this. Now here's where I'm going to use my inspect tool. You don't have to, I mean I know what it is. This is 8 millimeters wide, but I just want to double check. Yeah, it's 8 millimeters wide, and oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It is 0.08 of a millimeter wide, so it's less than a millimeter, which in N scale is, oh, let's see here, that is about 2 feet, maybe 2 feet width, I think, which is kind of, you know, off if we're designing this to be very realistic. But again, we are designing this to print on a 3D printer, so it has to have some amount of thickness to it. So we're going to start with the door, and I want that door to be approximately, well, let's see here, let's see, 1.5 feet from the corner, which is, what is that, it's about 5 millimeters away from the corner. So let's close this measure tool out. So again, we're going to start with a, sorry about that, we're going to start with a sketch here. Click on your sketch, and we're going to start on the front of the building here. And I'm going to just make a registration line with this line tool here. So put on here, click on here, drag it over. See, that's 1 millimeter. Again, how long do I want that to be? See here, 1 foot is 1, 2. That's about 3 millimeters. I'm sorry. So 0.3. And click just a. Alright, so that's 3 millimeters off that corner. That looks pretty wide, actually. Yeah, that's kind of wide looking. Let's cut that down. So we're just going to hit escape, select this line, delete it, start again. Let's just do, let's cut that in half. Let's just do 0.15. Yeah, and now let's do 0.2. That looks a little bit better. I'm just trying to line this up with this side wall here to make it look, you know, halfway decent. Another thing that you can always do with these lines here, if you don't want it to be an actual line, you can click on this construction line, and it turns it into what is construction line. It won't actually show up in your final save or anything like that. There's no reason to, since we just delete them anyways, but that's always an option. Okay, so we know that we're going to start from this point to make our door, and we know that our door is 6.5 feet tall, which is approximately 1.3 centimeters to give us 6.5 feet in N scale. And most of our doors are 7 millimeters wide, which again is, what is that, like 3.5 feet, almost 4 feet wide, roughly. So we've got this selected. Go up here and get our rectangle again. Start on this point. Start dragging. Now, okay, it's doing the width first. You see the width is highlighted, so 0.7. That's our width. Go up here, tab it, and do 1.3 for our height. And that created a sticking construction line, which I don't want. I don't know why I did that for. Let's close out that. Let's try that again. .7, 1.3. There we go. Okay, now here is our entry door area. Alright, first thing I'm going to do actually is I want to get rid of this little registration line. We don't need that anymore. Apparently had two there. Okay. Alright. Now again, we want to make a casing around the store, correct? So what we're going to use again is the offsets. Now, as you noticed from the last time when we select this line, selecting all four lines, we don't want to select all four lines. We don't want this bottom line selected. We're not going to want to offset that. So we come up here to chain selection and deselect it. We'll come here and we'll select that one, and that line. Now that is going in the correct direction, but that 1 millimeter is way too thick. So let's try 0.06, see what that looks like. That's not bad, I can live with that. That's another thing, you guys, we're designing an N scale, and you have to exaggerate some of your items in N scale just to get your 3D printer to actually be able to print it well. If you try to design it to true N scale, some of these items like this door frame, it is not, you're not going to see it, or it's not going to print very well at all. It's going to look horrible. I would rather make it a little bit bigger, a little bit out of scale. The building itself is in scale. So these little things that we have to deal with, it's not that big a deal, at least in my opinion, to get us a building that looks correct. So here we go, 0.06 of a millimeter. And now we want to extrude this door casing or framework. So again, just E for extrude. We'll select that, and I'm going to come out 0.05. And as always, new body. Do not join it. Alright, there is our trim work around our door. We can leave it square as it is. I, however, am going to come over and I want to roll these edges just a little bit. It may not even be noticeable on our printers, since our printers are not that fantastic at this small of a scale. Again, we used our fillet tool, or selecting all three of these edges. And I'm just going to get a little bit of a roll there. Not much, just enough. Do a little bit of save. Okay, now here's where you can decide what you want to do. We can either create some panels on this and leave the door closed, or we could cut this out and leave the open the door up. We could also, which is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to actually cut this out, but I am also going to create a door that I can glue in, so I can either glue it completely shut, or I can glue it ajar. Not a jar like a glass jar, but a jar like slightly open, right? So we'll go back over here and we will go to our sketch menu over here on the side and click our last sketch to turn it back on. And that turns this back on, so we can select the door section of this. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to extrude this door out just so I have it. So click on E. We're going to extrude it out. I'm going to extrude out just a millimeter, just so I have it. A new body. Click OK. Now what I want to do is we're going to see where it's highlighting over here. It says body 9. We're going to go over here and we're going to type shed door. And then I'm going to hide it. Now we have our shed door we can work with here. Now we're going to go back over here, since this sketch is still visible. We're going to extrude it again. Click on E for extrude. Okay, now you see your arrow is coming this way, so we are extruding out, which we are creating something. We're going to push it back through. Once we do that, you see it turned red. And up here the operation turned to cut, which is what we want to do. We want to cut a hole in this door now. So we click on cut, and there you go. Now we have a door opening. We can turn that sketch off. I don't see it anymore. And if we turn the shed door back on, bam, there it is. Now we will get to that shed door here in a little bit. We'll make it look a little fancy. Next operation I want to do are the windows. I'm only going to do 2 windows on this shed, one on the front here and one on the corresponding back. And the reason I'm doing that doing it like that is because, again, this is going to be a simple structure for our first structure together. Okay, we've got more housekeeping. Shed, door, spell door properly, right? Door trim. Always try to keep up with that, even I forget. Alright, again, we're going to create a sketch. Select this body. Now, windows, they vary widely in size. Your standard, I forget it, but I think your standard house window and end scale is like 6 millimeters wide and 9 millimeters tall. This is a shed. I am simply going to grab our rectangle tool here. I'm going to start right here where I want, and I'm just going to pull it out and make it look, what I think looks good. I like to try to work in even numbers, so since this is 0.692, let's make it 0.7 or 7 millimeters by 4.5 millimeters tall. How's that? Hit enter. Again, we want to create a framework around this window or trim, so offset. Go back up here now. We can recheck mark chain selection so that all these lines select at once. This time we want it to go the opposite way. So we're going to go, what did I make that 1.6? We'll do negative 0.06. And now again we are going to extrude. We're going to extrude the window frame or the window trim. We're going to extrude at 0.05 to match the door. And like the door trim, I want to roll it using our fillet tool. So we select all the edges here. Now you could go crazy, make it real like a picture window, but we don't want to do that. Again, just a little bit here. And I don't even know if that's, like I said, I don't even know if that is going to actually show up properly or not, but we're going to give it a try. Okay. Did you guys catch that? I do believe I messed up. I surely did. When I created that window trim, I did not create it as a new body. Who caught that? So let's Control Z, Control Z. Let's start this over again. Extrude. Select our trim. 0.06. New body. Okay. Go back up here to fillet. Select our edges. 0.14 I believe it was. Whoops, I missed one. Alright, start over. Fillet. Select all our edges here. Oh, 0.014. That makes more sense. Click OK. Now we got a new body. Shed window trim. Alright, now we are going to, once again, let's highlight, turn the sketch back on that we were just working on. Highlight the center of that sketch, E for extrude. And this time, when we cut through, we're going to cut all the way through both sides. Bam. So we have holes on both sides. We got window trim on that side, but no window trim on this side. You know what we're going to do, right? That is correct. We are going to mirror this window trim to the other side. So I'll come up here to create, mirror. We're going to select this object. We're going to turn on our origin so we can see it. Come over here to mirror plane, select the plane we want, which is that plane. It's a new body, click OK, and there is our window trim on the other side. But actually, you know what? I'm going to take that away because I'm going to try something different here. I want to put, what are they called? Buttons, not buttons, the sashes. Sashes, if I learned to speak English, in this window. But normally how I would do it is I would just put it to the actual window itself, which I still need to do. You know what, we'll do that a little later. Let's go and redo that mirror plane. Make sure we redid it. Yeah, okay. I was thinking of trying something new, but it wasn't going to work, so forgive me. Okay, Control S, save what we've got so far. Alright. Now let's work on this door real quick. So let's turn the shed door back on. Let's actually go up here to our move tools, grab it and move it out. Now that is 1 millimeter thick. That is pretty thick for a shed door. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, actually first thing I want to do, when I moved it out there, well, it doesn't really matter because we're going to make it flush from the inside. So we'll just move it out so we can work with it. That's fine. Use our press pull tool again. Come up here and select this, and let's make this half as thick, so minus 0.05. That gives us a 0.5 millimeter thick door. It's plenty thick. We can print this laying flat on its back, so we could actually go even thinner if we wanted to. Now I'm going to make this. Let's do a raised panel door here. A pseudo raised panel door. Click on our front, so we're looking at this square. And we can actually go and we can just hide the shed body if we want to here. Actually, we can just hide everything. Trim, trim, and trim. All the way to the door here in front of us. Make things a little bit easier, right? Again, we go up to create a sketch. And we're going to select the front of this door plane. And let's do a traditional 4-panel style door. So we will select our rectangle here. Alright, now we know, actually, you know what, let's do something a little differently. Let's get some registration lines here first to start here. Let's find the center of the door. The center of the side here. Okay. Now let's do our 2-point rectangle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, see I got my little crosshairs here, see if I can zoom in. We're going to start lining them up on that line in that corner. That's too close. Kind of like that. Click and drag. Now I want to make the top panels a little bit longer. So I'm going to come over to that edge, but I'm going to drag it past this line just a little bit. And click it. Now I'm going to do the lower one while we got this still going here. So everything kind of wants to line up, which is very helpful. I'm not going to bring that one all the way down to the bottom. That should be good. I'll hit escape to get rid of that tool. Now I'm going to get rid of this line first. Then I am going to extrude both of these doors panels at the same time so that they're the exact same height. And let's extrude that out. Let's see here. We're going to be printing this flat, but I want to put a roll to it. So let's try 0.05. That's too much. 0.03. Okay. Again, a little bit of exaggeration here. And do not join them. We want new bodies. Now we want to go ahead here and roll all these corners. So again, we're going to use our fillet and just start selecting the edges here. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Grab that arrow, kind of push it in a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to copy these. So move copy, select. Now I did that, you have to hold down Control or Shift, I believe. Let me try that again, I'll hold Shift down, see if it works. So move copy. Oh, no, don't hold Shift down, my bad. Okay, create a copy here, and let's just drag these to the right. Now granted, there are much easier ways to do this, I am sure, than what I'm doing. But I'm going to grab my inspect tool and measure here. We're going to measure this distance to this distance, 0.025 of a centimeter. And we'll graph this distance to this, 0.031. So I have to use a calculator because I'm not that smart. 0.031 minus 0.025. Okay, so we need to move these to the right to 0.006 of a millimeter. So do our move copy again, select, 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 and type in 0.006. And these are even. I'm going to turn the sketch back on real quick just because I want to get rid of that line. Alright, now the next thing we're going to want to do here, if we can, let's see here where we're at. We've got this sketch. Right. Let's see here. Now let's not make it too difficult for everybody. We can leave it as it is. That looks okay, but kind of hokey-ish, right? Those door panels are just way too thick. So let's go and press pull all these down just a little bit, make them a lot thinner. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Now here's what I want to do. I want to join these panels to this door. So again, we come up here to combine, select the door first, then select the panels. Make sure your operation is joined. Okay. Alright, we got the door back. Turn everything back on, see what it looks like real quick. Now get this set in there properly. Turn that roof off again here. We are going to align, so we'll click the align tool. We're going to align from the back of this door to the inside of the shed wall. And there is our door. Now I'm not even going to attempt to put a doorknob on this door. It will not even print. The best thing I can say to do is to take a piece of your filament, snip it off, and glue it on, or a piece of spar from a model or something and glue it on, and that would work just fine as well. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to create the sashes or sash, or actually let's make this a 4-pane window, a fixed window if you will. Let's turn the roof off so we can see in the inside here. As a matter of fact, we're just going to turn the trim off too. Let's get that out of the way for a second. Alright, so let us again start with a sketch, and this time we are going to sketch on this inner plane here, and it automatically moves it like that, so we just kind of want to move it back. Alright, there's our center point for that plane. Come down here to a rectangle. We're going to use that center point rectangle again. That's our center point on that center point. Click and just kind of drag it out. So that is half a millimeter by 0.8 of a millimeter. I think that, let's make that 0.06. That make sure we can print it. Actually, let's just go crazy. Let's make it 0.08. I know that's a lot of exaggeration, but we're going to do that anyways. Now, first thing we want to do is let's get rid of the center line here. We don't need that any longer. And of course, we're going to extrude that. And as we did with the peaks, we'll just grab this little arrow and just start to move it. And we will select this point, and it will automatically extrude up. Again, we want to make a new body. So select a new body. And for right now, we are just going to hide that new body. And now we're going to do the same on the side windows. Create a sketch, select this plane, get our align tool, find our center point, come over here and grab our center rectangle, find the center point on that line, start to drag it out. And it's going to be 0.8 by, or 0.0 by 0.08. Enter. And get rid of that center line like we did before. And again, just extrude. Grab that arrow, start to move it. Select this side. New body. Click OK. Now let's turn this other cross piece on. Now what I want to do here is I want to combine these pieces together. So there they are there. Now let us call these, muttons, window muttons. Again, I'm probably wrong, but I probably spelled it wrong, but you know what? It is what it is. Now we want to put these over here. So yes, we are going to create a mirror. So mirror, select, oh, I selected just that edge. It doesn't work. Make sure we select the entire object. The object is selected. Turn the origin back on so we can see it. Our mirror plane is this plane. New body, we are good. Okay, let's turn everything back on, see what she looks like. And there is our basic outline of our shed with our door and our two windows. Alright, our next video, I believe, will be our final video. In that video, we will be making these walls hopefully look like a siding. It's going to be a vertical siding, like a tongue and groove type board is what I have in mind. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and you know, give me that thumbs up, guys. I'm going to say that 100 million times on every video. Give me that thumbs up. I hope you like what you see. And until our next video, have a good evening.